The Change Agency. Changes on the Road to Eternity. Changing the Game. Articles about change and changing. Hi folks, let me introduce myself. I am Butterfly, the change agent and guiding force of change. You can look at life being a game that comes from your mind being under the dictates of your sense organs and negative passions, conditioned through endless repetitions that became the programs that run your life and play their game with you. I look at life being an adventure in which you constantly need to change and adapt, or life being a fantasy game or fairy tale, a game that takes place in my world of change, a fantasy, dream, or let's say a world in which nothing is real and thus an illusion, but in which something can be rediscovered that is real and forever. However, let me first get back to the connection life being and inside a game, an e-game, and in my opinion being your ego game or an evolution and involution game. Three games that take place in the mortal reality of mind and body, and a world that constantly changes, and there is where you come in the game of going with the changes or against them, and missing the purpose being in this e-game and getting stuck in the game. It is a game that takes place in the world of time, and you in need of a good time manager, because time is precious and time is running out until you, the player, is no more. So, it also depends on what your game is, egocentric and just adventuring and hunting worldly treasures, or being in a game to discover what it is to become a real human being, and then to go to the next adventure, an inward and evolution, and seeking that eternal treasure. Focus and priority changes when you are after that real and eternal treasure. It is a game in which you have to deal with opposites, and there is no need for any judgment, for you in the game rising above the reality of duality. It is a game in which you need to improve constantly, and in which the challenges change while going through the cycles and seasons within the game. It is a game in which you are constantly guided from the inside and from the outside, and even written in scriptures and guidance being presented by teachers. It is a game which challenges obstacles and messages that bring you constantly clues where you shouldn't go and do, or what you need to do in order to get further in the game. It is a game in which you can learn and figure things out, but also dangerous, you thinking that you know and have figured it all out. There is always more you don't know than what you know. It is a game in which everything with the slightest movement, thought, word, or action goes out of balance, and you having to assist to get some kind of balance back again, and realizing that real balance can only be experienced, you being out of the way, and that something eternal inside of you back with the source for eternity. It is a game in which you can get sidetracked each moment by letting your sense organs, attachments, addictions, and conditioned self-created programs take over. It is a game in which everything has a place and in which there is an order to things so they can function. A game in which you must accept the roles you have to play and learn to play them well. It is a game in which you have to pay for everything, a game in which you can take too much and through which you become too heavy, to continue or making the journey too difficult. It is a game in which everything is life and alive, and you having to watch out for taking life that is not needed. It is a game for each individual, but completely individual and unique, and in which you do not need to compare or compete, but where, as said before, you having to keep an eye on your mind. It is a game in which everything serves you, and you having to learn to serve back with love and without expectations. Not being and staying aware of these facts, you are trapped in your ego game and having to constantly start again, as nothing is really satisfying. When you are aware of these facts, you may have entered the evolution game, and slowly, with all the help you can get, changing from an unconscious reactive human doer to a human being. Here you are inside the game and looking for or receiving guidance to improve on all levels and in all departments with a sense of discrimination. Oftentimes, being in this game reality, you receive invitations to enter the involution game, a game in which you discover who the real you is and where it came from, and experiencing life with the highest virtues. Actually, it is the Creator's game, and you allow to play with him in his game. Is this and is that not a privilege? You came without anything and will go without anything, but can be part of the biggest game, the best game ever invented. A game in which you can play the hero and, in the end, sacrifice yourself, being an illusion for the higher good and purpose, to free that something real inside of you and to let it merge with the source for eternity. Is that not why you read or listen to adventure stories or go and see them at the movies and identify with the hero or heroine? Look at the change you could experience. Changing, being in the e-game from an ego game to an evolution and involution game, and merging with eternity.